I'm coming. Here we are. Okay, so a continuation of looking at the stock market book, looking at the different categories and trying to get ideas of things that would turn into visual photographs to put in microstock that would be areas and categories that, based on history, based on the past, should be marketable categories, that people would be interested in this and we buying this because a lot of the institutions that bought them before are still around and they're still buying this stuff. So I've got basically the last two categories, and this will be the last of the series on this. The two categories I have are education, it has 12 pages, and sensitive issues, as they called it, with 4 pages. Okay, so education, so much to learn, to better oneself, you must or else. A lot of this is really looking at kids and teachers. The photographs were really all people oriented, very little conceptual in it. A lot of focus on younger kids coming up. And we pretty well know as a marketplace overall, this has a lot going on. People will forego a lot of things to take care of their kids. And so the money is flowing this area, and education is known as a key area that is needed for a child to be successful later on in life. And so parents do a lot to spend on that. Therefore, there's good driving force behind all this, good driving market on it. So what I started seeing in this, this was an era back when you definitely had kids, a lot of blackboards, a lot of kids at blackboards. You had books, you had library. This area may be changing now. They may be doing far more on iPads or something than they are in the traditional library. They may do a lot more on computer. They may have their cell phones out. So the idea of how you transfer knowledge from one generation to the next generation may be changing, and that would be what you need to look at, is how that currently is done. The need is still there. You still have to go through and educate. You still have to transfer knowledge from past to future. So there's an opportunity for creativity to take place. Also saw in this museum field trips, which I think we used to always love. And I think that's also going to be a very good way for people to learn and to kind of capture that idea. Had a lot of pictures of kids at computers, and these are back with old Macs or, early IBMs. So definitely no laptops, no tablets during this time. I imagine these days you'd see it integrated more into everyday life with kids. Kid doing show and tell. It shows all range of subject matter. So it's not where they're just looking at one subject area. You've got them running through music classes. You got them running through arts and science. They're doing their chemistry class. You've got them in classrooms, teacher at the head of the classroom, all the traditional things there. You got them at the hall lockers. You got them at microscopes. You got them in art class. They're in study lab. They're in the greenhouse. It's quite a range of area that's covered within this. You've got them at graduation. Different symbols of graduation, the diploma going across, or them in cap and gown for graduation on it. This section has just a minimal of diversity. So I actually put a few people in there, a few shots that they weren't just pure white. So doesn't really represent the diversity in a lot of America, even though that probably certain areas that still is represents what's in a lot of America. Obviously doesn't represent the world. So they had some adult ed, just a few photos showing some ideas of adult ed. Basically, old grandparents learning how to use a computer. Adult ed can be, we've got a very active adult ed program here in Portland, so it can be quite a range going on with adult ed. But most of this is, again, just working a lot with kids and teachers going on. Again, everyone's happy. They're all happy, or they're kind of intensely studying. Nobody ever gets sad in photo stock world. They're all good-looking kids. They're all, proper size, weight. There's no fat kids. There's no disabilities. There's none of that kind of stuff. This is idealistic world coming out of the last century. Also, what I didn't see was no trade classes. The idea everybody was going to do a computer, be a college graduate, and go on. No idea that there may be other areas you need to get educated in, because that may be your future. Of course, no cell phones, no laptops, no tablets, no large screen displays or projector stuff working on it. No alternative to our traditional education. Traditional is all in classrooms. So there's a more diverse way that learning can take place. Obviously no homeschooling, nothing like that being represented. This was still just the traditional public education going on. Nothing going through showing things like military academy, nothing going through showing private schools. This is very average America kind of education back at the period. So again, there could be both opportunities to recapture what's happening for kids in education today, and for no college kids. I mean, almost nothing for college kids. Nothing for. I started out at community college and found out within that you had a lot of returning adults. You had a more diverse population going on. Other than teacher, child, there's no. You go to community college, you've got 18-year-olds coming in, and you got people that were 35 that were there. So you had a diverse range of age, ethnic background. None of that is kind of projected here, which again, I think you have to go through and study the category. It may broaden, but if you're going to work in this category, I think there's opportunities to represent more of what is truly going on in the country and in the world today. So, education, good category. Okay, sensitive issues was basically 4 pages. It was basically current issues and problems. It still remains we're a troubled society. So a lot of this is going on. So what they had was homelessness, drugs, smoking, crime, abuse, fighting, armed robbery, mental illness, gangs, domestic violence. All of that is going on and still growing on it. Things they didn't have, because we have gone even more, no protests, no riots, no mass shootings, no crime scenes, no arrest, no law enforcement was shown, no border issues, no homeless camps, and no solutions. We've got all those and so much more that can be done in this category. It's coming up in the news all the time. It's coming up as issues all the time. It's getting more troubling all the time. And I think there could be more opportunity photographically to represent and capture this area within, I guess, called social justice area or cultural problems, where society and culture is breaking down, and it seems to be happening more. So that is the last category out of this book. And that completes kind of the series. I know I've got more ideas that I want to work with, and I need to now kind of work this into, initial categories and initial ideas, and then work up visual thoughts on it, and then work into a shot list. Either one which I'm going to recreate symbolically, or find elements of it to photograph in the studio, or to place myself in the environment where this occurs, and then photograph and capture images there that represent it. So working out approaches to move this along from seeing the demand, seeing what's there, into being actual visual images. And hopefully, since I'm going to retirement, hopefully it's more of a fun way to do things, but still make a few dollars. So I thank you for watching, and I hope that was useful.